Sorry about that, everybody. Major tech difficulties, which we obviously have to sort out before tomorrow morning. And that's why we went offline, I'm afraid. Anyway, such is the way of things. But here we are with a herd of elephants, in case you hadn't figured out what those things were that we were looking at. They are, in fact, elephants, not aardvark. Sometimes you can confuse an elephant for an aardvark on account of the fact that they both have long noses. This, of course, is entirely sarcastic. If you ever confused an aardvark with an elephant, you should go and possibly check into some kind of institution for the deficient. I'm not sure why that came over me. Anyway, that's what I said. So we a small herd of elephants here, about 6 or 7 animals, and they're just feeding quietly in this very pleasant light that is slowly infusing the Lowveld here. This is an elephant cow, not a elephant cow. And she had a little calf that's moved off now. Very pretty. And you can hear the wind blowing. There's not the sound of even one bird around us. There are a few drongos following the herd, but you can't hear any of them. They're all just watching. And not singing at all. I'm sure they don't sing. I'm sure the fact that we can't hear them is possibly a function of the wind just dulling the sound, but also a function of the fact that they probably don't bother to sing in the wind. Now that elephant's pregnant. If you look at its belly, you can see a big swelling. There's a baby Ellie in there. Rosalind, an elephant's trunk is about as useful as your arm. So you can imagine living without your right arm. That is how difficult it is for an elephant to live without a trunk. It can be done, it's not impossible, but it's very difficult, and I suspect elephants that don't have trunks probably won't live as long as elephants that do. That trunk does everything. It picks things up, it breaks things, it's dexterous enough to pick up a single marula fruit. Yes, it's strong enough to snap a branch of, say, sometimes even a foot in diameter. They lift things up with it, they smell with it, they trumpet with it. They drink with it, thank you very much, Sebastian. Yes, they use it as a straw and then blow the water into their mouths. They use it to sort of comfort their youngsters. So it's very much like an arm. So you can imagine how difficult your life would become as soon as you, or if you had lost your arm. There may even be some people who've lost limbs watching the show and will be able to sympathize with an elephant that has lost its trunk. Luckily, none of these chaps have lost their trunks. Just listening to Sydney engaging somebody on the radio. It's rather wonderful. I'm going to link to him shortly. I'm just going to give him a chance to help this one lady into the sighting, because she's not particularly au fait with where on earth he is, and he's doing his level best to try and help her. Let's just give him a minute or two. That's a beautiful shot of the eye there. Yeah, Margarita, they do get ticks from time to time. They don't get huge number of ticks, and that's on account of the fact that their skin is so very thick, and it means that the ticks really struggle to get through to the blood. There's something about an elephant's eye that is just really special to look into. And it's also very cliche to say, they look so wise. They have the wisdom of ages behind their eyes. But really, that's what it is. They look like they know stuff. When you look into their eyes, they look like they know stuff that we wouldn't know, which I'm sure they do. That is a very cool shot of the wrinkly skin. Isn't that gorgeous? And the spine you can see sticking out the top there. Now Sydney is still doing his level best to get somebody violently clueless into the sighting. Actually, I wish I could play it for you. It's quite funny. Yes, Gary, absolutely. It gets full of dust, and you'll often hear them going, which is them blowing their noses, basically. And I'm sure that a lot, along with mucus, comes a lot of dust. And you certainly don't want to be around an elephant when it sneezes, because to be covered in an elephantine sneeze is an unpleasant experience. It hasn't happened to me before, but I have seen it happen to others. I've been sneezed on by a horse before, and that's fairly unpleasant, and that's about, well, in the case of an elephant cow, about 1/10 the size, with a much smaller nose. I imagine an elephant with a head cold would be very unpleasant. Alrighty, do you want to go across to Sydney? Yeah, I think he's okay. He's in what Megan likes to call the golden light.
You can see Hosanna is now enjoying the golden light. A reflection of the sun on his spot is lovely. Look at that. He's not sleeping anymore. Now he's very wary about what is happening here in the area. You can see the ears are just moving and moving. Kathy, that is a very great positive. The nose of these animals, they get darker as they get old. Mostly when they get to about 8 years of age is then that you will see the nose starting to get very dark. Look at that. It's showing off the nose because you are talking about the nose. You can see Hosanna's face is still very nice and clean. No scratch marks, nothing. Look at that. He has not been involved on too much fightings. So I just want to communicate with some of the stations coming to the sighting. Yeah, if you can take that right turn, come straight, you will see my vehicle. So look at that. He's trying to listen now. Look what he's doing. So now we are going to head up to Masai Mara. Taylor has got something interesting for us by Masai Mara at the moment. Let's see how wildlife is doing.
How incredible this is. Now, it looks like well, to all of you, it looks like there's just 2 black rhino here. But that's actually not the case. I've heard that there is a brand new rhino calf. How exciting. Now, of course, the grass is particularly tall. I think I can actually see its ear in between the 2 rhinos. The rhino to the right, Archie, if you can go to its horn, then, oh, now it's turned its head, but I did just see a little ear twitching in the grass. Now, of course, it's facing the wrong way, so we can't really see what's going on. But this is so, so exciting. Now, for those of you that don't know, I'm sure most of you do, of course, because it is all over the newspapers, and well, everyone's doing documentaries about the decline in rhinos as well as many of the animals in the world. But black rhino are particularly rare, and they're elusive creatures too. There's the little ears. Did you see that? Let's see. I think that's obviously mom that might be moving around. It makes sense that such a young rhino would Oh, that rhino's not happy now. There's the little calf just behind Mom. That is so exciting. Now, it's obviously not the greatest view, but of course the grass is nice and tall, and they're on edge. Black rhino aren't, I suppose, not as relaxed as white rhino when it comes to being out in the open. They are equipped for living in the denser vegetation because they are browsers. Just gonna... Magic Dragon, you've said that these are the first rhinos you've seen on SafariLive. Well, welcome. We do show rhinos in the Mara here in Kenya, and it is very, very cool that we are able to do so. I think it's very, very educational that we talk about, well, the dire need. Well, what am I trying to say? Sorry, we've been out for a long time, for many hours. But what I was going to say is that I think it's important that we educate everybody all over the world about these beautiful prehistoric creatures, because, well, there aren't very many of them left, and the chances of a lot of people actually seeing them out in the wild is really slim. I couldn't even begin to tell you how young that young rhino calf is. The grass is so tall there. But that's so exciting. And you can obviously see something that stands out in comparison to that young one's ears is that Mom's ears, and that, I think it was a male that we'd seen earlier. Look at their ears, how it's like someone has taken a pair of scissors. You know, those fancy, well, the scissors you would give to kids that would cut different patterns. That's not what's happened here. That is what we call notching. And that's how they take DNA samples. It's also, of course, how they're able to identify individuals. Tears from a Dream. Yes, this is very special. Very, very, very special indeed. I've been actually quite lucky. I've been seeing a few rhino here and there. They are quite far away from us. You won't believe it. Actually, saying I haven't driven in this area for quite some time. It's actually been an exceptionally long time. But I thought, might as well. River's really quiet for the day. Might as well just come and have a look here. And I've seen rhino here before. I reckon, and we know rhinos are territorial, so I think that this is a female that we've actually seen before a couple of times. I've been with Manu, and Craig, where we've showed you a couple of times. There's tree line just behind us. You can't see it right now. And it's just really nice to see that she's given birth. I think actually the last time I saw her, we noticed quite a big belly. And that may have been, you can all maybe help me. Maybe it was in January. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I can't really remember. But it's so exciting to see a young rhino. Unfortunately, there's only a handful of black rhinos left here in Kenya. I mean, of course, they can move around. They can also go down into Tanzania too. Now, Kalena, you've asked if the male rhino will, I think, like I said, I think it's a male. I don't know if it is. I can't confirm anything, but you were wondering if he would stay with the mom and calf for very long. Not typically. However, I also think with recent studies, black rhino are a lot more social than we will have known for them to be, or what the books have said prior to this, because I mean I've seen gatherings of 7 rhinos before. I think I've seen 6 or 7 here together. I've seen 7 together in South Africa. So they do seem to be social to some degree, but both male and female rhinos of the black rhino species mark and defend territories. And it's obviously common to see rhinos around, say, like a water source, because it's something that they have to share. But I haven't actually seen that. Whenever I've seen big gatherings of rhino together, they could just be randomly in the open, kind of like what we're looking at the moment. So it's so interesting. And I think it was actually David Attenborough that first realized, I think it was in Namibia, if I'm not mistaken. He was using some low light cameras where I forget, I think it was his series about Africa, where he basically shows all these black rhino around a watering hole and interacting with one another. And it was amazing. After I sort of saw that, you won't believe how I started noticing and seeing groups of black rhino together. But typically you see them on their own. Again, I think there's a lot we don't understand about animals, and with technology developing further, we are going to put a lot of theories and, to rest. So, and very exciting. So he'll probably move off. He might just overlap in this female's territory and pass on, like I said, whether it is even a male, it could be another female. Who knows? But they don't seem to be bothered by one another. They're not interacting, though. He ran away, or the rhino that's not with mom and calf on the right actually ran away. and now is keeping its distance. So I think we'll just sit here and just observe for a little bit and just see what kind of happens. But it seems as though there's a critter that's out, and maybe it's on the lookout for some food.
Taylor McCurdy, that is absolutely epic. I'm so excited for you. You have no idea. We've been dying to see a baby black rhino since we arrived in the Mara. This is very, very exciting news. So, as you guessed, I am with North Clan tomorrow for Safari Live's Gauntless Episode 3. I will be live with North Clan, so I'm trying to keep track of where they all are. I apologise for being late to the party. I've been looking for Waffles, who has made herself invisible. She's around somewhere. We just have to keep our fingers crossed for tomorrow. So we're back at North Clan's den, which is of course where I have the greatest chance of keeping track of them and at least vaguely knowing where they're going to lead us into the night. That's Paige over there, my favourite, as you know. But she's sleepy. Hey Paisley, come, let's go see Hershey quickly. He's behind us. And Hershey's having a bit of a tough time of life. Now, Hershey is the son of the matriarch, Waffles, and his mum's just had cubs. So all of a sudden he has gone to being the most important, almost the most important thing in her life, to now, I think he's pretty much persona non grata for the moment while those cubs are still small. Where'd you go now? Sawa was here, I swear. So was Hirsch. How'd they do that? Where'd they go? Oh, there they are. Oh my goodness, there's hyena cubs everywhere. I think this is Hershey here. That's Sal. There we go. So I think that's Hirsch. Oh, sorry, Manu. I'm driving Scott's car because Mila killed another camera today. So I'm driving Scott's vehicle. I'm not quite used to it. Pretty sure that's Hershey. Hey, my boy. I'm sorry. Life suddenly very tough. I mean, he's still very, very high-ranking. The only hyena that he doesn't outrank is his mother and her new cubs. So it's not too bad for young Hirsch. But at 2 years old, or nearly 2 years old, must be a bit of a shock to the system. Mommy's not around anymore. And every night when we followed Waffles, she's been with Hirsch. Somebody going to go and like me. Please like me. Say hello to me. Don't bite me. Justin, how I know the hyenas by their names? Look, 4 months of spending a lot of time with them will do that, but I've also spent a lot of time studying their pictures. So I've been very fortunate in that the Michigan State University provided me with photos of most individuals, not all individuals, and I sit and I stare at the pictures, and I memorize their spot patterns, and it takes a really very extended period of time. I'm probably on, Manu, what would you say, 35 or so? Yeah, around about there. Some of it is process of deduction. So I see a hyena, I watch it, I look at its age, and I guess who it might be. And some of it is actually informed. So with these fluffy cub coats, I do struggle with some of the others. Or with some of these cubs now that they're at this stage. They were so wonderful when they were sort of 4 months or 5 months old. There's Sal over there. Someone coming to pay their respects. Oh, yeah, don't bite me. Alright, we're going to sit here and enjoy North Clan, but it seems like Osana's up and about. Let's go join Sydney.
I have got Hosana now, and Hosana is trying to stalk some 2 kudus ahead of me. This is happening right here. You can see the kudus are there with their big ears open to try and collect a lot of sound about what is happening. All these kudus, they have not yet noticed about the presence of Hosana. Hosana is right here on top of the termite mound. Look there, he's very much static, not moving at all. So these kudus are right in front of him. So the kudus are concentrating on the other vehicles in the area which are making some other movements. they have not yet noticed the big cat, the little chief, Hosana. Kudus are one of the animals which normally give an alarm call when they detect the presence of every predator. This silence tells me that there is no detection of the predator at the moment. Brandon, Hosana and Tingana are not a combination at this stage. They are interacting after a kill, not before a kill. Before a kill, I've never seen them together going for hunt. But once there is a kill, is when you will see one of them going to join the other. Mostly Tingana going to join Hosana. We might see something here. I can see that that leopard is very much stationary. Hosana is very much stationary, and he might target one of these kudus. They are at a distance of about less than 150 meters away from each other. This is very close. This is very much close. So now let's go to Taylor, who's got a lovely sighting of a rhino in Masai Mara. I haven't seen rhino for quite a long time at the moment.
Well, that just goes to show you how relaxed these rhinos are. I don't even know what I was going to try and say, epic and amazing at the same time, and then nothing came out. It was just blank. But how cool is that? The rhino, not this one. This is the female with a calf. You can't see the calf right now. Perhaps that little one is also laid down after a long day of walking. But I love that. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like when animals are feeding in front of you, you know that they're relaxed. If they're drinking, if they lay down and sleep, well, they're relaxed too. That is so cool. Now, this poor giraffe, I must tell you about this giraffe. Let's give it some TV time, hey? Archie and I were just having a bit of a chuckle. The reason why is because everybody's standing here, obviously, not standing in the vehicles, but looking at the cars, and this giraffe is going, oh, I'm doing a good job today. I must be looking fine. Everybody's stopping to stay here. I'm so sorry, giraffe, but today you are not the star of the show. It was indeed the rhinoceros, but thank you. You are very beautiful. So there we go. You got your moment of fame. You can go now. Thank you. Thanks for coming. No ways. Oh, I love it when nature works out. That was spectacular. Thank you, wildlife, for always being on my side and listening to me. Very cool. But this is wonderful. A giraffe on its own also, again, not unusual. And a couple of oxpeckers too, bouncing between the rhino and the giraffe. Ooh. Francis, good question about suckling and rhinos. Obviously, I suppose what suckles from behind? You see buffalo calves will often stand between the back of mom's legs and try and suckle. Now, with rhinos, what they'll do, depending on how old they are, because rhinos will suckle their calves for quite a long time, about 2 years almost, but even at 1.5 years, both black and white rhino species are almost too big. So typically, mom will just sort of stand, they'll try and suckle from underneath the belly. And that's most likely the easiest route, because rhinos have got very well developed hindquarters, and I think it would be quite tricky for them to suckle from behind. But what's really funny is when the rhinos when they get too big, they can't stand, so they kind of tuck their legs underneath their belly and just hope that mom doesn't move, and then they're basically laying flat trying to stick their heads underneath the bellies, trying to see if they can suckle, but it doesn't always work out. Now, I don't know if some of you noticed, but there's a cage around the tree, basically between the rhino and the giraffe. I don't know what that was. I mean, I've seen people doing it when they're trying to protect trees to allow them to get to, a certain height. They'll put some fencing around there. I don't actually know what is in there. So again, it's so tall to see. I don't know if it is that tree that is encaged in it. Yeah, it does look like it, hey? I don't know why they've done that. Bizarre, because there's lots of trees out here. Maybe they're trying to protect it from the elephants, but I feel like the elephants could just stretch their trunks over and snap off as many branches as they like. So that's just what that is. We're not really sure. I'll ask some of the rangers, or David. David will probably know. Pauline, so the gestation period varies very slightly between black and white rhinos. So with black rhinos, it's 15 months. And then with white rhinos, it's a month longer. It's 16 months. And they sort of have intervals every 2 to 3 years. They will give birth. So, you know, they keep their youngsters around. Now, I wonder if this rhino, maybe it's not the same one I've seen before. I wonder if she has got an older calf. And if she does, I wonder where it is. Again, I've heard this is a fairly young rhino. And sometimes what happens is when mom gives birth, the previous calf is sort of neglected. It's not suckling anymore. They'll, depending on what species it is, black or white, and they'll either be grazing already or browsing already, and they would have been doing so for quite some time. But it can't be very nice to be sort of pushed away and shunned by mom. But eventually you'll see that older calf might join for a little bit longer before it disperses and goes about on its own little mission. But very cool. Lots of flies today as well. I can't believe those rhinos aren't twitching their ears more, because I'm being bothered by them. I'm whipping my ponytail back and forth trying to swat them. But what a spectacular sighting. I do think we will leave, though, because there are quite a few vehicles here that want to see the rhinos. And so that's me. I'm going to get the flies. Swatting away. I threaten them with a serious clap, and then they normally, hopefully, don't come back. But there are lots of other vehicles, so I do want them to get into our spot because we can see quite nicely. But it's, you know, not Tingana. Hosana's having a great time. And, well, maybe he's going to try and bite off something a bit big.
I have got the francolin, one of the very noisy birds, the bird that normally alert all the other animals about the presence of the predator in the area. The francolin has just arrived now, and Hosana saw the francolin, and he is now very much static on top of the termite mound. He doesn't want to move because he knows that francolin is going to make noise and the kudus will detect his presence. So at this stage, I can say the kudus are safe at the moment because of that point. They are right here next to me, not very far away. The distance between Hosana and them now is approximately 170 meters. Look, that kudu was trying to sniff. Look, that is trying to sniff now. It means when the wind is blowing all directions, they have picked up the scent of the predator here. Look at that. You can see she's trying to sniff. She's trying to get all the information. So that one is very much inquisitive. Since the beginning, is the one who is trying to check what's happening. She's traveling together with a small calf, and that calf is the one which is a target by Hosana at the moment. Look at the calf there. Can see now that the mother is now feeding, which means the mother is very comfortable now with everything. She's not sure about the presence of the predator here. I don't think the mother was going to feed if the mother knew that here we have at the moment. So this is very interesting. It might get more interesting anytime soon, as I can see that Tingana, where he is now, is on a very stationary, Hosana is on a very stationary position. Look at that. So that is the baby which is a target at the moment. And the baby as well is concentrating. Look at the ears. The kudus, both male and females, and the little ones, they have got very big ears. And this big ears helps them a lot because they can be able to pick up grasses as well as the small sticks, branching sticks, breaking from a long distance. They can pick up the presence of the cats very nicely. I just want to see what Hosana is trying to think, because I can see he's just changing legs where he is at the moment. if he can just show them. He has been just changing legs, showing that he's changing positions. But his focus is still on the kudus at the moment. Mr. Public, the leopards are not like the lions. If you look at their body design, the spots, it tells you that these animals can be able to approach the animal too close. Leopards don't normally chase any prey at a distance which is very long, up to 50, 100 meters. They will chase something when they're too close. They don't want to. I have seen leopards catching 20 meters distance, less than 20 meters. That is when they chase and catch. They always don't want to chase the animal for a long distance because they know they are trying to conserve the energy. Remember, when the leopard is walking around alone, when he targets something, he's going to do all this job alone. He must chase alone, he must catch the animal alone, kill the animal alone, and drag that animal up into a tree alone. And he must make sure that he's got a lot of strength so that he can do all this in a very short space before animals such as hyenas arrives. So now let's go to Brent. Has got a lovely sighting of the elephants in Masai Mara. Let's see how the elephants are doing there in Masai Mara.
Welcome to the Mara, and isn't that a lovely old gentleman just biding his time next to the river. My name is Brent Leo Smith and I have Vim on camera. We have not had the most successful day. We've been out all day searching for the sausage tree pride. They, however, have managed to give us the slip. So we decided there's a nice old Ellie to show you. And you can see both his tusks are worn down. He's probably close to 50 years old. Hey, old man. What a beautiful creature. And you can see on his side there's quite a lot of battle wounds, possibly from the tusks of other elephants. An old warrior. Enjoying his late years around the Mara River. Now we're going to keep moving towards the north. See what else is along here. As we are going to be heading out at 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. So we're going to go to bed very early today. Now remember, this is 100% live. Hashtag SafariLive if you have any questions. Now let's go across to Jamie and the incredible North Clan.
We are indeed waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning to come and see what these critters get up to in the night. We've got little SEO here. Isn't he stunning? With his little notched ear. Let me make sure my head stays out of the way. Hello, my boy. I think he's going to go up and pay his respects to the higher ranking individuals, which for SEO is pretty much everyone. There's only one female. Am I talking nonsense? I think there's only one female that is lower than his mother and her daughter. That didn't make sense. There's two lower ranked females lower than his mother. Let's put it that way. He's going to go up to Sal. You see the nervousness when he presents himself. It's good hyena manners to present one's genitals for inspection and sniffing, but it does make them very nervous. Understandably so. Puma! North Clan versus a lion combat. Manu and I sat and listened to it happening not so long ago in the, unfortunately, what's known as a high use zone in the Mara Triangle, which is where there's lots of vehicles around, so you can't off-road there. So Manu and I sat and listened to them fighting with lions. We then came upon them with a zebra that they had stolen once again. So we've just missed out on most of Northclan's experiences. A couple of nights ago, we actually converged upon Scott. Oh, no, not upon. We converged with Scott, who was following the Owino Pride in the night. But that is a tale for another time. I believe it is a tale for episode 4, if you are interested. I don't want to give too much away, but just to give you a little sneak idea, the North Clan were not the only clan, and the Owinos, well, they were most unfortunately positioned. So yes, we have had some interaction, not in the same way we've had with the Happy Zebra Clan. Lots of interaction with lions in the Happy Zebra Clan. It seems appropriate on World Lion Day. Have I got that right? Is it World Lion Day? International Lion Day? Oh, I'm going to get into trouble tomorrow if I get that wrong. That we are sitting with their main competitors, essentially. Thank you, Meg. Meg tells me I am correct. That is wonderful news. Thank goodness. We, of course, had our rehearsal this morning, and Manu and I did not feature, unfortunately. Billy? Looks like Billy. I always get Billy and her sister Smooth Criminal confused. I'm pretty sure this is Billy. Your baby's sleeping over there. That way. No, the other way. Look the other way. That's where she is. No, this is me. Close enough. Paisley's getting quite big now. Arizona Lady. Now, there is one thing that could get us slightly more excited than a black rhino calf, maybe, and that would be a sighting of a striped hyena. So Arizona Lady wants to know what the difference is between a striped and a spotted hyena. I'm not going to say the obvious, the fact that one has spots and one has stripes. I think you pretty much got that. But they're totally different in nature. Spotted hyenas are the biggest member of the hyena family, and they are the most social as well. So they're the only hyena that lives in these clans. Striped hyenas, and they're the only ones that really classify properly as predators. Other species of hyena do hunt, except for aardwolf, which obviously eat termites and other things. But yes, that's the way your baby is. But they are a completely different species. They don't live in these big social groups. They hide away in rocky hills, and I've never seen one. They do occur in the Masai Mara, but none of us have had the opportunity to actually encounter ourselves with an excitement. You're going to go pay respect to Sal, or you're going to get a smack. That was the wrong way round. You should have presented first, otherwise you will get a bite. Oh! Now you've done it. Now you've upset everyone. Stood on the wrong individual there. Cubs all dash to the safety of the den, as they do. There's Tip, always. Dominant. Showing everyone who's boss, hey boy. No, you've already said hello to Sal. Stop trying to suckle from other females. You're too old for this. I actually saw him trying to suckle from Soup, who is Waffles' granddaughter, which would make her technically his niece, but he is younger than her. This gets a bit confusing. I've seen him try to suckle from her. We talk about animals or hyenas not allo-suckling. Not entirely accurate. Sometimes higher-ranked individuals can suckle from females that are not their mothers, and that's simply because the mothers are so awkward they don't know what to do about it. They get really, really uncomfortable because they don't want to get into trouble, so they kind of just stand there and let it happen. Very uncomfortable for them, I imagine. So I've seen Hershey at way past suckling age trying to suckle from Soup, which was odd. It was an odd experience. I don't know how else to put it. Everybody's relaxing, gearing up for the night, gearing up to give me serious concerns and anxiety by the time we search for them tomorrow. Hopefully the Juma team don't have... Oh, goodness. Let's quickly send you across to Hasana, because I don't think anyone wants to watch this.
He's talking about TV. I am still here by Hosanna, and the kudus are now again slowly coming back. I can see both Hosanna and the kudus right in front of me. Not too sure what exactly is going to happen here at the moment, but I can see that this Hosanna is up to something. He might be in love with the small one, small kudu there. He might do something at any time here. So you can see that the kudus are still right here. So these kudus, they circled around. They went towards my side and they went around, and now they are again at this first spot where we spotted them earlier. That is the mother. The little one is not right there at the moment, is behind. And Hosanna is still also at the same place. You can see it's right there on top of the termite mound, hiding behind those trees. Safari Sally, the animals such as kudus, when they are alone with the little ones like this, they are in jeopardy. It is never easy for the kudu to come back and defend the little one. Once Hosanna takes down the little one, the mother has to run away for her own safety, as she is also not too sure how many leopards are here. But what the mother is going to do, Sally, is that soon as the mother picks up the presence of the predator, she's going to give the warning calls. And she's going to turn very aggressive on those warning calls. That is the only part the mother could do in order to save the little ones. But if this predator runs before the mother detects the presence, it will be too late for the mother to defend the situation. See that now the mother is concentrating on some of the noise coming from that other side, and the temperature is now getting cooler. It's starting to get cold a little bit, which is very good for predation activities. The kudus are very much wary. You can see that they are not very relaxed, but the direction of the focus is not where the predator is. So it means something else made a little bit of noise that side. The predator is here, and the kudu is concentrating much more towards a different side. You can see there. It seems like the mother is very suspicious of something. But when looking at the mother feeding and also looking towards the other directions, I am too sure that the mother is aware that there is a predator in the area. It's just that she's not too sure where exactly that predator is. So let's see, James is on foot somewhere around the reserve. Not too sure what he's trying to do. He will tell us. Let's go there.
Well, what I'm doing now is looking at the sun, as you can see. We haven't had great success here, I must confess to you. Well, that's probably obvious by the fact that we don't have a leopard with us. So we are here with the sun as it sinks into a fairly smoky and dust-filled horizon, or dust-filled atmosphere, and that's because of the very strong wind that we've had blowing all day. That's very gorgeous indeed. We were rather hoping to go back to the lions, as I said to you, but every man and his dog is now trying to get into that sighting, and so it doesn't look good. We will still try before the end of drive. We might be lucky. Anyway, as far as Tundi and Tlalamba go, no tracks. Herbert is in the area having a look, so we might be very lucky. We're just going to drive quietly around and see if we don't get lucky. It's a gorgeous evening, or coming to be a gorgeous evening. It's still the afternoon, really. It's very pretty. And most pleasing to have the Mara back with us. I know at least 2 of them have had to shut down their vehicles on account of the fact that it is raining. Thankfully the rain has disappeared from here. I don't think it's the same rain that we had that's going on up there, unless it went very quickly today. And against the wind, which is unlikely. Indeed, Safari Sally, it is a stunning sunset indeed. And it's not really setting just yet. I suppose it'll set in the next half an hour or so. We're now being ogled by somebody who assumes that we have a leopard sighting here. What it really is, there's a lot of vultures around here today. Vast swathes of the Sabi Sands remain completely unexplored. Justin, I don't know, I think I probably prefer the sunrise. It is certainly something I enjoy observing every morning. I don't mind the sunset, I enjoy it very much indeed, but there's something very fresh about the sunrise. You know what, it's different. In winter I enjoy the sunrise, in summer I probably enjoy the sunset more, because of course it represents the coolth of the day, the closing down of the heat. So funny, the picture that I can see, of course, is slightly different from the one that you can see, because I'm at a different angle, and the sun is already below that branch. Alrighty, let's go back to the Masai Mara in exactly 8 seconds to see what Jamie's doing with her hyenas of the North Clan 2-1.
I'm not sure who's just come wandering onto the scene, but let's just have a look and see how it interacts with the others, and I think we'll get a good idea of where it sits. I don't recognize this hyena straight off the bat. Nervous. Little cubs have moved away. Hershey dominating. And this individual submitting. My money's on a male. Oh, we're going to say hello. Go greet Sloth Bear. Sloth Bear being dominant. Oh, I do know this individual. I can't think. It's going to drive me crazy now. I mean, we haven't really gleaned much from this. We've got higher ranked individuals dominating a lower ranked one, but I can't think who this is. Who is this? Come on, Jamie, think. Think. Looks like a young female, actually. Looks like it might be a young female. She's pretty. Bless you. Oh, you look so familiar. Now, Sal's getting warning groans from Hershey. I know this hyena. It's gonna drive me absolutely mad. Meg, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to go with that again. I got the chupacabra part. I'm not sure where we were going with it though. Could you please let me try that again? Well, I was distracted thinking about... So I think it was from Denza, who wants to know if spotted hyenas can be mistaken for the chupacabra. I said it right a second ago. And the answer is no, probably not, because we're in the wrong place for that. As far as I know, the chupacabra is South America. Yeah. Oof, forgive me if I'm mistaken. I'm pretty certain it's South America. Whereas, of course, hyenas are largely based in Africa. You do get hyenas in Asia as well. However, there are numerous folklores, mythologies surrounding the hyenas, and they are always, always evil. They are the embodiments of evil witches, or they are you know, there's all sorts of things. They are, especially with their creepy laughter, when they get excited or nervous, or when they're mobbing lions, they make truly creepy sounding sounds if you don't know what they are and what they're doing and what they're talking about. So they're, generally speaking, hyenas have a terrible, terrible reputation, and they do often, there's stories of giant hyenas lurking around and all sorts of things, just in the same way that you would get in other parts of the world. So in a way, yes, you could think of them as a sort of local equivalent. There's lots of stories associated with them, and they're never pleasant. They're never flattering. Lions are viewed with great respect, as they should be. Leopards as well, cheetah as well. They're beautiful, they're sleek, they're lithe. Hyenas slope, and what they do is they're clever. So it's one of those things that people don't quite understand, or necessarily understand unless they're told. But a hyena is far smarter in terms of problem solving than most animals. It will learn how to open your dustbin. It might even learn how to open a door handle, depending upon the hyena itself. So they learn these sorts of things, they figure them out, and that makes them quite, you can imagine, people start to question whether or not they're hyenas at all, or if they're in fact the embodiment of some human being with malicious intent. It's unfortunate for hyenas. The price one pays, I suppose, for being... I personally don't think that hyenas are ugly, but they're not, as I guess you could argue, they're not as attractive as the cats, but they're very smart, and they make creepy noises, and unfortunately for them that gives them a very, very bad reputation. Shame, guys. I mean, look at little Sloth Bear. He's adorable. He's all fluffy. And there is an impression, and perhaps I read too much into it, or anthropomorphize too much, but there is an impression when you look at a hyena that something is really looking back at you. Anyway, speaking of looking at things, let's go and join Hosanna, who is looking at his lunch.
Hosanna has just got down from the termite mound at the moment, and I don't want to disturb him. I just want to first give him a chance. He is stalking the two duikers and the kudus, which are at the same place right there at the moment. He's just going to show you now, Senzo, where these duikers and the kudus are. You can see there now we've got a duiker showing. Hosanna got off the termite mound, now slowly trying to move towards that direction. I don't want to spoil his hunt. I am not going to reverse now, but I can see that he's going to have to pass right in front of me. It was interesting seeing Hosanna crawling down from the termite mound. He had to crawl down silently, and now I can't see him, but he is somewhere here trying to navigate the direction to slowly approach the duiker. I can see now the duikers are moving right there. Senzo, there's two duikers again right here. Right here, right in front. You see there by those small trees. Yes, there's there, and I'm sure that where he is, he can be able to see them very nicely. So anything can just happen here at any time, because I can see that Hosanna is really stalking something. I hope Hosanna targets something today here. Rosinda, Hosanna's dinner is true, is so very much close, and it took time before he decided to go much closer. Now he decided. He can feel hungry. I can see the duikers are just moving there, feeding by those green bushes, but I can't see him. He's not far away. He's somewhere slowly, maybe moving in between the bushes. So I'm just waiting for him to come out. the easier animal to catch, it is the duiker. Why? Because the duikers, they don't walk in large numbers. Impalas, they walk in big herds, which is very easy for one of them to try and reallocate the chances of the presence of the predators in the areas. So the duikers, when it's a lot, you will see them 2, sometimes 3, but it's very rare to see 4. So I'm just trying to check. I just want to try and work out something and see how we can capture all this happening. So let me try and reverse instead of going forward. Otherwise, I'm going to disturb this activity. Want to try and see how he is going to approach this kind of situation here. Can you see something from there, Senzo? I'm just gonna try and go down here and see if we can see him. Can you see something? There is a drainage line or a dry riverbed right in front of us. It might be somewhere in that drainage. You know what we must do? Let me check this side. So now I'm just gonna try and find a nice spot so that we can have a better visual. So now let's go to James, who is driving at the moment while I'm trying to position myself.
Well, what we're looking at there is Spiker die duiker, which means Spiker the duiker, basically, eating some jackalberry fruits, which is very nice. For him, I'd rather he was being passively eaten by a leopard, of course. Now, that's not to cast aspersions on the character of Spiker die duiker, but rather to hope that it would leave us with a cat to have in our TV show tomorrow. It is, of course, World Lion Day. Let us not forget that. It will still be World Lion Day when we go live tomorrow on Nat Geo Wild at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And so we will hopefully have some lions somewhere on the show. Pretty sure we will. If not the Sausage Tree Pride, the Owino Pride. If not the Owino Pride, maybe the Nkuhuma Pride. On the move as opposed to doing nothing. Hunting, perhaps. Now, that would be exciting. We wouldn't want them to hunt a Spiker, because poor old Spiker is not going to feed much of those 11 lions. Very fine fellow. Now, those fruits are very nice. They're enjoyable for us to eat. You can make jam out of them if you like. If you can be patient enough to collect sufficient. And they're eaten by a multitude of species. Nyalas, duikers, probably steenboks, baboons, monkeys, jackals from time to time. Squirrels, probably a little bit. Green pigeons. They do have sweet faces, Mr. Nom. I can see one actually running in towards this other one. It's quite interesting. Maybe he's being chased by Tundi and Tlalamba. No, there he is. Just went skedaddling over the top and down into the drainage line and away. I've done it again. The riverbed and away. Now, his wife's looking very confused. Come on, dear. Where have you gone? Dinner's here. At the Jackalberry. That's what we agreed. Why? What are you running from? I do thoroughly enjoy the unicorn horn on a female. It's not a horn, of course, it is hair. And I'm sure it's there to con potential predators into thinking that the speaker has got a horn. You see the other one there? Yes, yep, there, just you can see his feet. Well, Daniel, next time we see Hosanna, and you'll see him again very shortly, you can ask him what duiker tastes like. I've never eaten it. Sir, have you eaten it? Yeah, never. No, I haven't eaten it either. We're going to drive up the riverbed now. We did drive a northern section of the riverbed earlier, didn't come up with anything. We'll drive this little section down here and see what we come up with. Let me just check this twack. In the meantime, I think that Sydney is moving now with Hosanna.
I am now trying to relocate Hosanna. I can see that now these animals, they are stalking each other right here in this distance, but here I can't see them very well. Hosanna is so very much camouflaged somewhere in between these bushes. He's between the bushes and the drainage, and I can see that the kudus are also here very much static. The duikers is the ones that I cannot see anymore, but presumably they are also here in the same area. You can see the kudus there, and they are feeding, heading towards the direction where Hosanna is. I am not going to leave this area. I am going to wait until I see what is going to happen here. It's quite a very beautiful sunset. Look at that. This is quite a lovely sunset, enjoying Hosanna's hunting activities. Nice and pink. I can look at that sun with my naked eye. No binoculars, no shades, nothing. So I'm just going to try and reposition and move a little bit further just to see if maybe I can be able to pick him up. So I'm going to pull further now, Senzo, and see if we can see him nicely. So now let's see one of those that are more active now during the night. They are up and running in Masai Mara. They have got some beautiful hyenas at the moment.
Active hyena would be a bit of a stretch to describe the hyena right now. Sleepy hyena would perhaps be a better description. Oh, we've got someone up. I think that's Billy. And Pays wandering along behind her. Let's see if she's whining. I think she is. Softly though. I don't think you'll be able to hear it. Look at her. She looks like her mum. Look at her spots. They're not the same because no two hyenas are the same. But she looks like her mum. Or maybe I just spend too much time with them and I'm starting to see things that aren't there. She definitely has the same blotchy spots on her bottom. Mommy, feed me. Mommy, sit down so I can suckle. Mommy. Wee. They're cute when they do that. The other day, Manu and I were here, and one of the older cubs that we don't often see, Naga, threw the most dramatic tantrum I have ever seen in my entire life. It was so melodramatic. Her mom got up, and she just flopped on her side and screamed. It was hysterical. They are naturally comic creatures, that much I can say. I'm not going to follow them, I'm going to stay with Hershey. Generally speaking, when there's hyena action, Hershey is always in the thick of it, whether it's a hunt or whatever happens to be happening. Thanks, Manu. blinking in the dazzling light, illuminating my face. Oh, Hershey doesn't look like he's doing anything, though. Speaking of the thick of action, I don't know where Soup is. She's not here today. Or if she is, she's not lying close to the den. So now we just wait. And as I've spoken about before, generally speaking, hyenas go from 0 to 60 in the space of a few seconds. They wake up and they go. There's none of this yawning, licking of paws that the big cats do. No, it's up, listen, gone. And it's all that Manu and I can do to try and stay with them, which a lot of the time we fail. I've learned a lot about following hyenas at night, and it's pretty much impossible without risking life, limb, and vehicle. Yes, you speedy creatures. No, she doesn't care. No, she is out. I wonder if he's seeking out company. He must. Perhaps it's my imagination, but he does seem a little put out by this whole thing. I'm not going to stay late with them tonight. I think it would be quite difficult to get up again at 2. Mermaid, how lovely. You say that hyena are exceptional individuals, and you've put your finger on it. They are individuals. Each and every single one comes with a personality trait. To me, anyway, having spent so much time with them. So I completely agree. It'll be so interesting now that we know the dynamics of North Clan. Imagine we're going to follow them as time goes on. And all the stuff we're going to learn and see in their daily soap opera type lives. I can hear a jackal calling in the distance. So can Hershey. Oh, is that something I could be interested in? Should I go investigate? No? No? And back to sleep. Poor Tip. She hasn't quite recovered from whatever happened to her. Can you see her from where we are, Manu?
Yeah.
You can. Brilliant. She's very distinctive. I wonder if she's going to... I was actually just saying to Manu, I wonder if she's going to keep her distinctive looks or if she's going to grow out of them. She's got funny ears, floppy ears. Of course, now she's fast asleep, but she's always at the entrance to the den. She had a really nasty limp. That's all but cleared up, but she just doesn't seem right. I don't know whether it's the injury, perhaps it's still sore, but she seems dispirited, and she's always at the entrance to the den. I haven't seen her brother Wumbo or her mother Remington, but that doesn't really mean anything. I can't keep track of all 70 plus of them. Big stretch. She's got a very wide head and very wide spaced ears, and they flop down. She's just not precocious like all hyena cubs. I don't know. It's interesting. She doesn't have the youthful joy that the others do. Anyway, those are just my musings. Speaking of youthful joy, let's go and join Sydney as he searches for youthful, joyous Hosanna.
Hosanna is slowly approaching now. He left the termite mound, crossed the dry riverbed, now is on the other side, and the distance between him and the kudus is approximately less than 100 meters at the moment. They are not very far away from each other. But he's taking his time, he's hunting very slowly, slowly approaching. But I can see that there has been quite a lot of development on his hunting activities this afternoon. And they have not yet noticed anything about his presence. And here where I am, about a few minutes ago, I could hear Tingana was sowing just now, which might also give a little bit of confusion to the animals around here. This animal might consider the alarm calls from other animals about Tingana and forget that there are other predators such as Hosanna in the same area at the moment. can see that the chest is high up, is looking, is observing. Look at that binocular vision. Look at that. Look at that. You can see as the animals are moving there, he is counting each and every movement. He doesn't even want to blink his eyes. I can't wait to see his next move. Andy, the wind is on Hosanna's favor at the moment, as the wind is coming towards my direction, and my direction is more or less the same as Hosanna's direction at the moment. So the wind is not giving any updates to any of the animals about Hosanna's presence at the moment. Look at that. You can see, you see that animal is now looking at that direction. The direction that animal was looking at now is where Hosanna is. And Hosanna can't see him. He's down. He's hiding now, flat. You can see that Hosanna is somewhere there. He's lying down, flat. The chest is down now. He counted the movement of that kudu, and he saw that otherwise the kudu is going to detect him. He must have to match the surrounding. It worked for him, as the kudu did not manage to detect anything. You can see there. Fuma, the distance between Hosanna and the Nkuhuma Pride is quite very long. They are at approximately, I can say, maybe more than 5 kilometers away from each other. Just want to see what is going to be his reaction now. Earlier on, I saw some tiger here, but I can see that he's much more interested on kudus. He wants to taste the baby kudu this afternoon. Oh, there's a tiger coming. He's looking at the tiger. Can you see that tiger?
Yeah, I can see it.
There's a tiger coming. You saw the tiger now. Here we're going to see something, I can promise you. We're going to see a kill here. FC possibilities of a kill are very high here. Welcome to the beginning of our special broadcast. I am Sydney and I'm traveling with Senzo. We are by the western side of the Kruger National Park, the Juma Game Reserve. We are having a lovely sighting. We have got Hosanna, one of our big cats, hunting some activities here. We have got a daycare and the kudus. Not too sure which one is going to go for, but all these animals are very much close to him. We might see something at any time. We might see a kill here. The daycare is at a distance of less than 30 meters away from him. I am not going to talk now. This is getting interesting. This daycare is approaching him, not seeing him. He's right there. He's right behind the bush. Look at that. He is right there. Something might happen here at any time. You can see he's somewhere right there. This is one of the best sightings. We might see anything here at any time. I've got a lot of hope that Hosanna is going to catch this duiker at any time now. The distance between the duiker and Hosanna is less than 10 meters. It's just that there is some branches in between blocking his access. Look at that. Here, anything can happen. Look at that. That duiker's gonna get caught. That duiker's gonna get caught, I can promise you. The duiker is right where he is. Oh, the duiker was frightened by the scrub hare. I don't care. The leopard can eat that duiker. I can promise you something has just happened. The leopard was also frightened by the scrub hare. The scrub hare disturbed the whole hunt. And now the duiker is not too sure if there's a leopard, if the duiker is coming back again. The leopard is still very much camouflaged. You can hear now the kudos detected the presence of the leopard. And look now, the duiker in front of me is, you can see the duiker is now running away. We were just a few seconds to the kill. If it was not of the scrub hare, that duiker would have been caught by Hosanna right in front of us this afternoon. You can hear now that there is quite a lot of alarm calls. He's still looking. He's still looking. Now he's moving very much slow. You can see that he is right after these animals. So he nearly caught a scrub hare. That scrub hare is the one which disturbed he was going to catch. If it was not of that scrub hare, the duiker would have been caught. John, that is very true indeed. The leopards are very much beautiful cats. And look at the spots. The spots makes them very much camouflaged all the time. It has been a very interesting special broadcast, and thank you very, very much for all your comments and all your questions. This brought us to the end of the special broadcast here by the western side of the Kruger National Park, Juma Game Reserve. I am now going back to the normal game drive. I'm going to carry on again. A very, very good evening again and welcome back. Let's now go to James, who is now looking at the animals from his spotlight.
Yes, I'm looking for the animals with the spotlight. Sydney's had a substantially more successful evening than I have, I must say. We have had no tracks, we have had no sign at all of Thandi and Tlalamba. But we continue, everybody, fearlessly searching as we must. Sounds like Tingana might come back south, especially if his son kills something. Will most certainly be back then for dinner with his son. But I'm afraid other than that I don't have a great deal to tell you about where Tingana or Tundi are. At least Tundi and Tlalamba are. Now this is something of a distress for us, of course. Ooh. Ooh. Right, we have got news from Tristan and Louise, who say that there is a leopard sawing northeast of the new rooms. Now, it's not impossible that Tingana has headed back south already. It's also not impossible that there's a female sawing. It's also not impossible that Horomore is there, but I don't know. Let's go. Let us go with a great speed. Much haste. Many of our leopards have been found around camp of late due to the ears of our reclining staff members, those who are not on duty at the moment. Let us hope that this will allow us the same privilege. All right, let's go back to Hosana while we race along.
I am now going back to Hosana to try and see if I can find him as he is now heading towards the road. I saw that he's hunting. I'm not too sure if maybe there is any of the other animals here he is targeting. He came this side. And the survivor, the Deka, I also met him just now. I saw the Deka now going back that side, showing that the Deka was camouflaged as his Hosana was now moving towards this side. He just got disappeared here. Not too sure where he got to here. Just last time I saw it was coming here. It was coming this direction. That was too quick. That was too quick. Let me just check on the ground here just to try and see if I can pick up his tracks going this way. Oh, there's nothing here. Very quiet, unbelievable. We were with Hosana just now, but he just got disappeared here. Let me just try and go back and see if I didn't pass him somewhere behind us. Maybe he's somewhere here by this drainage here, by these dry riverbeds, as he was showing coming down this direction. The kudus are still standing there looking at him. So now I'm going to have to take out my spotlight and see. Maybe I will detect him very easily from the spotlight. But there, the kudus are right there. Maybe I'll pick up his eyes here. He just got disappeared somewhere here, unless he picked up something and is trying to hide again. So now let's go to James. James is lucky with the elephants at the moment.
Yes, lucky with elephants we are at the moment. There we have an elephant. It is Short Trunk, our lovely elephant cow. We know her well. She's called Short Trunk because she has a short trunk. That's correct. There you go. Now, we asked earlier about whether or not an elephant can survive without a trunk, or how it would be without a trunk. There's an elephant with a short trunk, and that's like being without a hand, basically, having an arm but not the hand. So she can't pick things up individually like an elephant with a complete trunk. And we've stopped on Mvubu Road, northeast of camp, where Tristan and Louise said they thought they heard a leopard sawing. So if he is coming down the road sawing, we should hear him again. Little bull calf. Hello, little bull calf. They're so great, this little herd. They're so friendly with us. Kathy, all animals will have a slightly more prominent sort of spine or rib cage when times are lean. I think these elephants look in pretty good condition, so no, I don't think that their spines are sticking out because of the winter. I think that's just how they look. And certainly if you look at the elephants in the Mara, they're a lot more angular. They tend to have far more bends and twists in them. I'm going to go a little bit forward. We're not going to follow them backwards. There is another one just up ahead of us. I haven't heard anything further of the leopard calling. There's another one there, another two. The rest of the herd, little herd of 4. And we'll just see if we don't hear the sawing coming down the road towards us. It'd be very nice. I know Tingana has been marking the whole way from the dam. He headed west, a little bit north. Look at that eye. There's that wizened eye. So full of ancient knowledge. I love looking at elephants' eyes. It looks like they've got ancient knowledge. I'm being a hipster now. But they do. I would agree with that. Hello, little thing. Stunning. There are a whole lot more in front of us, so perhaps Short Trunk's herd has made some friends. Let's keep going up the road. We might get lucky. We don't have very long left, and certainly very little light left. Oh, I haven't got my side lights on now. There we go. Didn't hear anything further, so we'll ask Louise and Tristan to just keep an ear out for any potential sounds. If we don't find anything up between here and our northern boundary, we'll go down towards the waterhole. No, I don't think the elephants would be bothered by the sawing. There are no small calves, not that a leopard would be any sort of danger to a small calf in a herd, but you know, the elephants don't like predators. If they saw him, they'd give him a right rollicking, they'd trumpet at him, but no, I don't think they'd worry if they heard him sawing. I'm saying him, it could be Tundi. No. He also could very easily be in this very nasty block of bush off to the west of us here. I'm just going to check on the road for any signs of twacks. I don't see any. Alright, Hussan has been found again by Sydney, who's done a marvellous job this afternoon.
I managed to reallocate Hosanna at the moment. Hosanna, who has just lost the battle not long time ago. We are now on thermal. I can see that the Hosanna is now very relaxed, heading towards the Buffelshoek Dam area. Hosanna is hunting and is hunting alone at the moment. If it was not because of the scrub hair, I can guarantee you Hosanna would have caught a duiker this afternoon. Look at that. This is beautiful. So I'm just going to try and follow and see, because I can see that he's getting excited from everything at the moment. He's walking, traveling and stopping and listening and concentrating and walking. So I just want to try and see what this concentration is all about. Very much relaxed at the moment, but hunting is not over. Thank you very much, Tink. It is great seeing Hosanna all the time. This cat is becoming my favorite. So I'm just gonna try again and see if we can have a better sighting of Hosanna from this side. He's not moving very fast. We will see him just now. Here he is. Can you see him there, Senzo? Can you see him, Senzo? Look there, he's coming. Look at that. So the birds are giving alarm calls everywhere. I wonder why the francolins are still making noise at this time of the night. Maybe it's not about Hosanna's presence. It's maybe some kind of territorial behaviors. Look at that. This is beautiful. I'm sure he's regretting the opportunity. You can see that he's just walking very much relaxed. So now I'm going to keep following again and see what is going to happen. I'm not going to give up now, as I can see there's still much to see. Elisa, that is true. Hosanna is truly a very special cat. This cat is so very much beautiful. Although it's a cat that I don't see very often, but every time I got an opportunity to see him, I enjoy the sightings. Look at that. This is beautiful. So you can see that when they are going for hunting activities, leopards, they don't need an extra hand. They just do everything by themselves, silently. Look at that. Seems like he's fascinated by something. So I'm going to have to now again check and see what is it that is getting his attention. So I'm just going to try again and see if I can go to the other side so that we can have a better sighting. So now let's go to James, who is driving around with his spotlight, and see how he's doing.
Well, we're on our way towards Gallagher Pan, which is not far from camp. We did not hear any further sawing, nor did we see anything between the elephants and the northern boundary where we drove to. And so now we're going to do our level best to see what there is at the water. Not far from there. Let's have a quick look. Oh, Minamu, there's a very strict fitness regime that we have to adhere to for the Gauntlet series. All of us are running or doing push-ups at least 4 or 5 times a day in order to get fit enough for the Gauntlet series. I'm talking rubbish, of course, Minamu. Well, in the Mara, there's been a huge amount of guys sitting around with their characters. So they'll go out at all times of the day, sit with their characters, record what happens, and there's a huge kind of effort from the production team to edit everything together into these packages, and then the presenters voice them. Sometimes they voice them in the field, sometimes they voice them back at home. They write the scripts and that sort of thing. And then out here we do the daily drives, and anything that we have we cut into highlight packages, which we may or may not use depending on which characters we have. So there's a huge amount that has gone into this last season, or this last particular series, because it's the first time we've had so much that hasn't been live. And it's been very interesting, I must say, a very different way of doing it. Alright, I don't think we're going to have any luck, so let's go back to the ultimately lucky Sydney for the last few minutes.
I have got Hosanna now, who is now after something, I didn't even see what got his attention, but I could see that he is trying by all means to listen, and he is trying to avoid the grasses. So now we are on flare to try and see what is it that he's going up to. Look at that. He's in between those trees. He's looking for something. He went here, he came down running at high speed, and after that he started walking softly and with his head pulled down, showing that there is a prey somewhere here not very far away. Look at that. This is beautiful. I don't know what attracted him there. And it's quite very much difficult to see from the naked eyes. You can see that only with a flare I can see nicely. Mona, that is true. The leopards can be very much lonely. Mostly they only get together with the family when they're still very young until the right time comes for them to go away. Apart from that, they spend much time just by themselves. So you can see that now this leopard is trying his luck now deep in the thick bushes. But maybe before the end of tonight, he might be lucky and catch something. It has been a very fantastic afternoon with all these different cats from Tingana, Hosana, as well as the lions on the other side, and all the animals that we saw from Masai Mara. It has been a great day, and I really enjoyed today's activity. And thank you very, very much for all your questions and comments. Let's meet tomorrow again at 5:30.